partner in crime, as they say, partner in uplift, as they say, is Jerome D. Love. He's in Houston today. I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia, in the Atlanta, Georgia studios. How you doing, Jerome D. Love?
Man, I am doing wonderful. Happy Resurrection Weekend, Easter. How's everything in Atlanta?
Well, it's great because we got two fantastic guests, and we're encouraging all the people who are watching the What is Rich Live to submit questions. Because both guests I really love, but one of the guests I have is our first guest is a long-time relationship that I've had, and he's been changing lives across America. His 49 locations across America. We're going to talk about that in detail. If you've been worried about, or you felt you would never had the ability to own a home in your life, we can change that today with this show. That's why we're here today on What is Rich Live. We're going to give you an opportunity every week to speak to people, hear people talk about, connect you with people who can change your lives. Jerome?
No, I'm really excited about this show. As you know, real estate has changed my life. I got my real estate license when I was 19 years old in college. So I was the guy, that was my summer internship doing apartment locating. And then I came out and started selling houses. And then I started investing in houses. And real estate has absolutely changed my life. One of the things that I did through my book, Closing the Wealth Gap, I talked about the systems that I've used to kind of build and create wealth, and there have been other people that I've been able to help, and it's a powerful tool, and we're going to be able to help our audience to learn how to leverage it so that they can use it in their lives as well.
Cool. Well, let's get started with our first guest. He's in Puerto Rico. Well, I called him on this week. I said, hey, can you come on my show, What is Rich Live, that I'm co-hosting with Jerome D. Love. My guest has spent more than 30 years as an activist and advocate for home ownership by founding the NACA nonprofit. That's the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. It's home to America's best mortgage. Please welcome to What is Rich Live, Bruce Marks. How you doing, Bruce?
I am great, Rushion. It's great to be on. And, we've known each other for many years, right?
Yes, sir.
And there's
Yes,
a lot of people out there that, talk the talk, but don't walk the walk. So it's a privilege and honor to be on your show because you walk the walk every day. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Let's give a little background. I know Jerome, Jerome been hearing me talk all week about NACA, and I have been a person who's attending your Achieve events in NACA. Jerome, you have a couple of questions before we get started, because I want to make sure you're educated about what NACA does, and Bruce is as honest as you can get. Man's been doing it for over 40 years as an activist. He's based originally from New York. He's now based in Atlanta. They got a huge location they just built, in Boston. They have a huge location they just built in Atlanta. The floor is yours, Jerome.
Well, I think the first thing is, for those that haven't heard of NACA, I want you to just kind of tell the audience and the viewers what NACA is, and then let's talk about how they can benefit from NACA. So I'll turn that back over to you, Bruce.
Sure. That's great. So let me go through a few things. One thing, we are a nonprofit home ownership advocacy organization. We're the largest in the country. So we're HUD certified. So there are 1,500 HUD certified counseling agencies. We're one. We do over 30% of the counseling in this country. So we've got that. And we're in 49 offices, and we're in every state, in every part of each state. And then we have the best mortgage in America. And we can say that because we're a licensed nonprofit mortgage broker. And sometimes the regulators will push and they say, how can you say in your material and everything that's the best mortgage in America? We say, do your homework. They do their homework. And what they come back and they say, yeah, NACA is the only organization that can say it's the best mortgage in America. So let's delve into that if we have a minute to do that.
Please do.
So there are four major roadblocks to affordable homeownership. One is that people need a down payment and the closing costs, which is a limitation. The NACA solution is there's no down payment, there are no closing costs. Number two is restrictive underwriting based on credit score. NACA never looks at someone's credit score because those three numbers do not define somebody. And so we look at payments that someone controls. So for example, if someone has late medical bills, that's not a reflection whether they're ready for home ownership, just says we have a dysfunctional, unaffordable healthcare system.
Right.
So and we want to see stable income. We don't care where your income comes from. You just got to document that it's going to continue. Number three is unaffordable terms. So NACA has the lowest interest rate out there. Fixed rate, always fixed rate. It can be a 30-year term, 20 or 15, but it's fully amortizing fixed rate. And then the last one is advocacy and biases. We're an advocacy organization, so we fight those predatory lenders out there.
Right.
But it's one of those things that sounds too good to be true. So, but we've done over 75,000 mortgages, and we have a foreclosure rate of 0.00012, about 100th of 1%. And we're open to everybody, but over 90% of our homeowners are people of color. So I could only say, Rushion, Jerome, that NAC was an absolute success about 5-6 years ago, when we would do these Achieve the Dream events.
Right.
And you were there, and the one we did in Decatur, where we had thousands of people there. And the fact of the matter is, when you ask people how they heard about NACA, virtually everybody said from a family member, neighbor, co-worker, someone they knew. So it's word of mouth. So the attitude and our perspective is, if you build it the right way, people are smart. People will come and they'll tell others. And that's the best reflection of the organization.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, Rushion, let me ask one question real quick, or let me make a comment that I will allow Bruce to respond to. I think what's ingenious about what you just shared and what you guys are doing is very similar. So I'm in real estate, and I have a rental portfolio, and most of my properties are in communities of underserved communities. And
Right.
most people think in order to rent, you got to have a perfect credit score. Credit scores, I'm not going to say on the bottom of the list for me, but I understand that that's not necessarily indicative of their ability to repay. So my number, I have two primary criteria. Number one, rental history. Where have you been before? How long have you been there? And have you made your payments on time? And then number two is capacity to repay. Now, I don't know where it came from, but you probably can educate us. But typically, it's about 3 times the rent. So if the rent is $1,000, you need to have $3,000 a month in income. As long as you have that, I'm gonna work with you. Credit may be a tiebreaker if I have 2 or 3 people that have the same basic criteria.
Right.
For the most part, that's not really a big concern of ours as well. So talk a little bit more about that and how you're able to navigate that. And is your mindset similar to the way I review tenants?
So when you think about it, we have reinvented mortgage lending. So there's 3 parts when you think about, because people make it far more complicated than what it should be.
Right.
Because they want to make money on it. So number one, we talked about how we determine whether someone is ready for home ownership. Look at the payments that they control. So we say to somebody, we focus on the last 12 months, and then we say, if you have late payments, tell us why it happened, what you did to resolve it, and why it will not reoccur. So it's character-based lending that we're doing, not risk-based lending, which is what all the lenders do. Number 2, we say, how do we determine what you're able to afford? What's the common sense way of looking at that? Well, you look at what you're paying in rent, and then your payment shock, what you want to pay more every month for your mortgage payment than what you're paying in rent. We call that payment shock. So we said, that's how much you can afford for your mortgage payment. And that's how we do it. So it's a common sense way. And then we say, you got to have some funds when you close, not for a down payment, not for closing costs, but because you're going to pay in advance your taxes, your insurance, and you got to have a few bucks left over for when you move into your new home. Yeah. And as good as the program sounds, it's even better. I mean, just think, you can buy, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it, I think, on the Section 8, but you can buy a multifamily house, up to 4 units, and you can be a landlord. You can buy a house that needs to be renovated, and then you have money set aside to do the repairs. And so you can do new construction. We can talk about what we're doing on that side, or an existing house. Everything is covered.
Wow. Now, the thing that I always, my relationship with Bruce Jerome goes all the way back to 2017. He started doing Achieve a Dream events, I believe, like in 2018. Now it's an
Right.
Achieve a Dream events. Like he just wrapped up one in DeKalb County in Atlanta, Georgia. But you have some dream events coming up in Hartford, Connecticut, May 1st through the 3rd, Little
Yeah.
Rock, Arkansas, May 29th through the 31st, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, August 28th through the 30th, and Fort Myers, June 5 through the 7th. Tell us exactly what goes down when someone comes there to these events, Bruce.
Sure. So we took the model that we did during the mortgage crisis when we did the Save the Dream events.
Right.
And people in Atlanta at the World Congress Center. I mean, I remember that one day we had 23,000 people, homeowners, at the We would do these for 5 days. We get 10, 20, 30, 40,000 people come. And we were saved their homes by modifying their mortgages in one day. So people
Mm-hmm.
would come and they would leave saving hundreds, sometimes over $1,000 a month in their mortgage payments. And we helped over 500,000 homeowners save their homes during the mortgage crisis. So
Mm-hmm.
we took that same concept and we said, it's not coming to hear a speech or a presentation. It's coming to get the job done. Whether you're a homeowner during on a save the dream event or an achieve the dream event, and you're a home buyer. So in
Right.
one day, people go through 4 steps. They will do a home buyer workshop to get an overview of
Mm-hmm.
the program and to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
They will, step two is they will upload their information and their documents, whatever they have, even if they got nothing, put in their information.
Mm-hmm.
Step three, they'll meet one-on-one with a NACA HUD certified counselor to be to go over their individual circumstances, because everybody's circumstance is somewhat different. In step four, they'll meet with the NACA qualification specialist to be underwritten for NACA's Best in America mortgage or their next steps. So in one day, people go through that whole process to get it done. And so, what we say to people is, you know, you're paying a lot in rent, but you should be able to have a mortgage payment that is less than you're paying in rent, and that you control your house and build generational wealth for yourself, not for your landlord.
Yeah.
Right.
So I heard you say multifamily. Are investors applicable for the NACA programs?
So, an investor where you're going to live in that house. So you got to be
Okay.
an owner
Mm-hmm.
occupant.
Owner
But
occupied.
and then you say, well, someone with a Section 8 housing choice voucher, they
Right.
can use that which is what's called the payment standard. That's what's going to the landlord. They can use that for the mortgage payment. And you know what? That's amazing, because what that does is that it's a 20-year term. So really, in 15 years, with the assistance of the housing choice voucher, they're going to generate over $200,000 or $300,000 in wealth. So people with a Section 8 housing voucher are actually they won the lottery. They got the
Right. Right.
golden ticket. So
Right.
that ticket is worth, that Section 8 is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, likely over 300,000, because at the end of that 15-year period, they're going to own that house outright with no mortgage payment.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's what really excites me when the fact that someone who's in Section 8 can actually buy a home, have equity, something they can pass down to their children, and
Yeah.
also live in a better neighborhood. Now, the thing about it, your relationship was with Bank of America. How did that come about, Bruce?
Well, it's interesting because we've done the advocacy campaigns against all these predatory lenders during the mortgage crisis, and we
Mm-hmm.
continue to do the advocacy campaigns. And the CEO, so back then it was owned by it was Nations Bank, and it was
Right.
Hugh McCall, and,
Mm-hmm.
we did a campaign against First Union, all this, but it was Hugh McCall who said, I had a meeting with him. And the meeting was me saying that all banks are evil. All you want to do is maximize your profits. You don't care about the people. And he
Right.
says all you nonprofits want is a handout, and you don't want to be accountable. So
Mm-hmm.
we said, okay. Then he said to me, if what you're saying about NAC is true, I will be your biggest partner. And he was true to his word. 6 weeks later, we put a clock on it. He 6 weeks later committed $500 million. Year and a half later, 3 billion. We now have $20 billion, and the CEO of Bank of America is Brian Moynihan, and he's been very supportive. So, so it used to be from the advocacy point of view, but now it's the operations that get it done because
Right.
people are looking for something that works. And this works. And just by, as you were there, Rushan, and you saw all those people by word of mouth, that is a demonstration that it works and people are getting qualified, pre-approved the same day. But I want to say, even if you can't come to one of the events,
Right.
go to our website at naca.com, www.naca.com, because we do 2 or 3 workshops face to face in every one of our 49 offices in other areas. So it just might take a little bit more time, but you can get the same results. And and we talk about we're even building housing. So we're
Hmm.
building, like in Selma, we took one of the poorest cities in America, probably the poorest city in America, one of the most difficult streets or problematic streets, Washington Street, and
Right.
we built modular homes. And these modular homes are beautiful homes, 9-foot ceilings. And so, for example, the Whitney Lake is
Right.
1,450 square feet, 3 bedroom, 2 baths. We're selling it for $169,500.
Brand
And
new.
somebody with Section 8 or anybody can buy that. And we want to do this around the country. So not just reinvent mortgage lending, but reinvent housing development.
Now I'm on NACA.com right now, Bruce. And so
Yes.
like you had the Achieve a Dream event upcoming in St. Louis. Yeah, which is March 27th through Sunday, March 29th. Now, that event just happened. And
Yeah,
then you
that,
have the upcoming
yeah.
event uh, in Hartford, Connecticut, which is May 1st through the 3rd. And then you have one coming up in Little Rock, Arkansas, which is May 29th through Sunday, the 31st. It has the option to register now. What exactly happens when they register now at NACA.com?
So when they register now, we will be in touch with you because we want everybody to be as prepared as possible. Because when I said that how we're reinventing mortgage lending,
Right.
we want to verify what people are telling us. So
Hmm.
we'll verify it with their pay stubs, with their W-2s, with their other documents. But it's a streamlined process. So once you got find the property, we're now able to close people within 30 days of the executed purchase and sale contract. Because at some point, people said, well, it was taking too long to get through the process. We fixed
Hmm.
that because it's always good to make a negative into a positive, and we've done that. Because we are the go to organization in this country now for affordable home ownership. Because all the politicians, all the elected officials are saying we got to deal with the housing crisis.
Right.
Everybody recognizes it, but they haven't come with any solution yet. And
Hmm.
NACA is the primary solution to affordable home ownership in this country. And with $20 billion committed, and there's more if we need it,
Right.
15 billion from Bank of America, we're in the best position to do this.
Wow. The thing about it is that I'm just going to let you know, Jerome, going there you're seeing the workshop, you're seeing the counselors, you're seeing monitors, you're seeing people, because guess what? A lot of it's done remotely. Okay. They'll sit down, they're talking to counselors and underwriters remotely. And so they put the headset on, then they move over to the next stage. And some people who do go there, Jerome, walk out there fully qualified. They walk out of there, they ring a bell, and so it's not like you can walk in there and your dream can't come true. You walk in there with your paperwork organized, you've done your work ahead of time, upload everything, going through the various steps, then you go through the process and it's done. But it's gotten even more sophisticated as we close out this interview, Bruce, because the last time I saw the cab, he said, Rashawn, we've upgraded here. Talk about the changes you've made and how it has made the process even more streamlined at your events. But we're talking about NACA.com. We're talking to Bruce Marks. He's the founder, been doing advocacy for over 40 years. But his program, The NACA.com, which is a nonprofit, has been changing lives. You got a Section 8, you got bad credit, no closing fees, no fees, America's best mortgage. That's what he offers at NACA. But talk about the advancements you made in the Achieve events, at the Achieve
Right.
event.
So you've said it better than I can. But the fact of the matter is, it's a streamlined process. So so we don't even require people's bank statements, because what we do is at no cost to the home buyer, we're able to access their bank data, their transaction data, so they know where every penny that they spend goes. So that allows people to do better financial management, and for us to reduce the paperwork that's necessary. So, we require very little paperwork now. But I want to say to everybody out there, you're paying a high rent. We're now taking on these corporate Wall Street landlords, Blackstone, Invitation Homes, these players out there who are buying up residential properties, and they're renting them out to you at exorbitant rents. And
Right.
they're buying with cash, they're buying these properties out from under you. So we want to say, we're an advocacy organization. We got to make sure that those properties that they own, and it is one issue out there that is Republican, Democrat, rural, urban. It crosses all that. It's a bipartisan issue with these corporate Wall Street landlords taking them on. So we want to continue that advocacy. But my point is, if you're paying high rent, you have an obligation to yourself and to your family to come and look into the NACA program and take advantage of it. It's there for people to take advantage of and to use, because we want to make the NACA standard the national standard. And in working with your partnership,
Yes,
Rushan,
sir.
we're going to do that. This is the national standard. Because remember, what built the white suburbs after World War II? It was the no down payment VA mortgage.
Right.
And it was the white suburbs, because of someone of color, as we know, could not access or buy those properties that they were financing. So
Right.
here's an opportunity to go back and say, now we want to open up that opportunity for everybody in this country. And that's what this does. So yeah, go to our website, come to an event, but or come to the workshop and get it done. Because I say to anybody, you control this process. One of the things that we fixed is, it used to be taking 3 hours for a NACA counselor to input the information
Right.
of our home buyers, to upload the documents. Now we say that's the job of the home buyer to do that in a very streamlined process. So that
Mhm.
allows the home buyer to get through his process in 1 day, 1 week, whatever it takes, because the NACA counselors are available to get that done. And we're hiring, we're growing. So people who want a great job, it's a demanding job, but a great job where you can change people's lives, go to our website at NACA.com and apply to work at NACA.
Jerome, any closing questions?
Well, only thing that I would have is, you kind of talked about the corporate housing. If I'm not mistaken, the Trump administration has just passed some type of laws that is kind of restricting that. Talk a little bit about that legislation, when it kicks in, and how it will impact the real estate market.
Well, there's legislation out there that they're trying to pass that would streamline the housing development process. But
Mm-hmm.
what we have to make sure is, as much housing as we need to develop, we got to make sure that we don't lose more by these Wall Street investors buying up residential properties. We're not talking about what they're building. We're talking about what they're buying up that's already
Right.
existing out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yes, there is restrictions that's happening with the Section 8 housing choice, all those things, but not around home ownership. So everybody, it's a bipartisan issue to say, if you have a Section 8 housing choice voucher, use that, get out of the dependency of the Section 8, and to use that to generate wealth for yourself. So it's a bipartisan issue. So we're supported by the Republicans, by the Democrats, by the
Mm-hmm.
independents, across the board, because this is an issue, housing, that's a bipartisan issue. And we are, maybe it sounds a little bit much to say, but we are the one real solution out there that can do this on a massive scale. And that's what we're doing. And we're going to do that this year. Don't wait till next year. Don't wait. Get it done this year.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been to your events in Los Angeles, Houston, two or three events in Atlanta, Georgia, and one of the most I've spoken at your events, and I'm compelled to say this to everybody. If you know somebody who's interested in home ownership, you know somebody who's been living in a Section 8 lifestyle all their lives, tell them to go to NACA.com. Tell them we can change, and Bruce and NACA can change their lives today. That's why I'm just introducing them to a whole market share they may not be aware. They feel they're going to rent for the rest of their lives. And NACA changes the game, Jerome. I've seen it
Yeah.
happen. I've seen people come through that front door. I've seen them go through these workshops, and they be ringing that bell, clapping those hands at the end, talking about their lives have changed. They got their kids with them, got their wives with them, got their families with them. So,
Absolutely.
Bruce, in closing, you've been doing this a long time. What's the ultimate game, man? What's the most ultimate end game for you?
Look, I have the best job in America. I have the best job. As good as the job that you have, Rashawn, I got a better job because everywhere I go, whether it's through the airport or walking the street, people
Mhm.
will come up to me and say, "Thank you. You saved my home. Or my family's home. I've been able to purchase a home through NACA. I got stuck in the Newark airport. The two people who were, helping the customers, one had 7 family members purchase a home through NACA. The other person
Mm,
himself had purchased a home through NACA. And
mm.
so, the end game is to make the NACA standard, the national standard, working partnership with you to get the word out across this country. Because people have been making promises, but they've been false promises. At NACA, we get the job done because it's all about the operations. Yes, we have the product. Yes, we have all the pieces there, but it's to streamline that process and getting it done, and we get it done. So that's the end game. Thank you.
It's www.naca. That's NACA.com. Bruce, thank you for giving
Thank
us
you.
time
Thank
on
you so much,
Saturday, man.
Bruce.
I appreciate you, brother. We're going to talk soon this week, okay?
Absolutely. I will be seeing you soon. Thank you. Really
Thank you,
appreciate it,
brother.
my friend.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Jerome, did he give you something that, as they say, food for thought?
Man, I'm just intrigued by the fact that you could be on Section 8 and buy a house and
Yes.
build equity. I mean, that just blows my mind.
Right.
But no, that's an amazing program. And I hope that those that are listening take advantage of it. Make sure you go to NACA.com, check it out. And this is a game changer. I think it really is.
Well, the thing about it is that, you've been changing the game. You got a big event, the Texas Expo coming up here, Jerome.
Yeah,
24 years you've been changing the game.
Man, for 24 years, we've been, doing this big event. Our mission is to create wealth within underserved communities. I started my business very young when I was in college, 19. By the time I was 24, I was in debt over $100,000. And I realized I didn't know what I was doing. And I realized there's a whole community of people just like me that didn't know what they were doing. So it's been my passion to help others to learn about business. And I think we're doing it through Texas Expo. This year's event is going to be May 15th through the 16th. Really excited about our featured guest, 36 years old, Damola at Mulligan, who's the
Yeah.
CEO of Red Lobster. He's going to be speaking at our corporate awards luncheon. This is always our signature event. Last year we had John Hope Bryan, we had Maddie Johnson one year. It's an amazing event that convenes close to 1,000 business, political, community leaders to network. And we recognize some folk. This year we'll be recognizing Texas Southern University, Joni Odom with First Line Brands. They have a company that's almost valued about $50 million, hair care products in grocery stores across the country. So it's going to be an amazing event, and I'm really excited about it. And then, of course, that whole Friday really revolves around building your business. We start off with our coffee and conversation, which is our workshop, AI in this generation. So if you are trying to learn the AI game, if you're trying to learn how to automate your business and learn how to advance technology in your business, you need to be there at the Texas Expo. So it's very affordable. Go to texasexpo.net and you can get all the information, but we're really excited about the work we've been doing for the last 24 years. So it's great.
Cool. Well, I know we had another guest coming up. He's been sitting in the wings.
Well, we can't go. Are we gonna go there first, or we gonna talk about your movie? You gonna act like you didn't just? We waiting. Okay,
no,
all right.
Mr. Lockett been waiting, brother. I cannot do that to him.
Okay, all right. So our next guest is Mr. Adonis Lockett. This brother is also changing the game. This episode is really all about real estate, and this brother has a vast array of experience from flipping houses to wholesaling houses. Now he's doing mortgages. So I want to bring in, he's already in, Mr. Adonis Lockett with LNH Capital. And he's also a member of the greatest fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Adonis, hold it up. Let Rashawn admire that for a minute. Let him admire it. Let him admire it. Welcome to the show, my brother.
I appreciate you having me.
Cool. Adonis, I recently interviewed you in Atlanta, and I always talk about fear when people make changes in life, and you see these reality shows about flipping homes, and they make it seem so easy. You have experienced the easy and the hard of flipping homes, but you have a platform now. Talk about this platform now that you can, like as they say, skip a lot of steps, skip a lot of heartaches that you experience. They can get people to the end road easier. Talk about it right quick.
So, everyone talks about getting into real estate by flipping, by wholesaling, by, rental properties. I just thought that there was an easier way that no one ever talked about. And so I created an education series that puts people into real estate from the perspective that no one ever talks about, being the person that funds the deals.
Okay.
So I created the Smart Money Blueprint to show people how to get into real estate from the money side of the business. And what makes that such a phenomenal concept is that, a lot of people, say that wealthy people own real estate, which is true. But in real estate, the money is not in real estate. The money is in the money. Right. And the most in-demand thing in real estate is not real estate, it's money. So I created a concept called the Smart Money Blueprint, which teaches people how to get into real estate by simply introducing real estate investors to private money lenders and getting paid. It is truly the easiest way to get into the game, but you really understand how the business works when you're entering the real estate business from the money side of the transaction.
So Adonis, you flipped over 130, 180 something houses, somewhere in that area, over 100. And then you transitioned from making your money off of the actual asset to the money. Talk about how you made that transition and how that's changed the game for you.
Sure. So so not only was I flipping, I was actually wholesaling. And, I've wholesaled, upward of 300 properties in my real estate career.
Right.
And during one of the deals, the buyer that I was wholesaling a deal to, his lender fell out the day before closing. At that time, I had flipped like maybe 40, 50 houses. And so my lender was able to, close my loans in 5 days. So I said, hey, buyer, call my lender. He'll get you squared away. Called them 3 days later. We had docs out, close the deal. So I started pushing all of the people who were buying my wholesale deals to my lender because I knew he was going to perform. So I got real good at, wholesaling houses. So I got invited to speak at a panel. I'm at a panel telling everyone how I'm flipping houses, wholesaling, and how this is why you need to persevere. Told them about how I referred this one buyer to my lender. I get off stage and the guy's like, hey, how much did your lender pay you for that referral? And I'm like, come again? And he was like, well, yeah, your lender should have paid you. How much did he pay you? And I was like, he didn't pay me anything. He was like, go talk to your lender. I called my lender, right? And let's just say his name is Larry. Let's just say his name is Larry for the sake of argument. So I said, hey, Larry, if on the next deal that I send you, will you pay me a referral fee? He said, yeah. I said, Larry, I've sent you like 15 deals already. Why haven't you paid me? Do you know why he didn't pay me?
Because you didn't ask.
Because I didn't ask.
Yeah.
So I'm like, come on, bro. Like, so I was
Yeah.
like, all right, on the next deals, can you pay me for these referrals? Said, absolutely. So a week or two later, got paid, did that 3 or 4 times. Larry calls me like a month later. Hey, Adonis, I need your wire instructions. I need to pay you for a referral. I'm like, what are you talking about? I haven't sold the deal. He was like, right, but the lady you referred me to last month did. So I'm gonna pay you. That was our agreement. I said, hold on. So you're telling me, even if I'm not wholesaling a deal, you're gonna pay me on everyone I send to you? He was like, yes, that's what we agreed to. I was like, okay. Next 2 days, for the next 3 days, I called 45, 46 people. And over the next 5 weeks, I closed 11 loans. So all I did was make phone calls and I closed 11 deals sitting at my desk. From there, I was like, oh, game over. That's where I made, and that whole simple concept, broker and private money, that's when that became my primary thing. And I've been doing that since 2014 now.
You know, as I hear you talking about that, you obviously, you know, I'm a real estate broker.
I do.
I have never gotten paid off for referring a loan. So I'm wondering, have I just been leaving money on the table, or is there? I would imagine as a broker, because in the real estate transaction, commission can only be paid to principals in the transaction or real estate brokers. So I don't know if there are any type of guidelines or restrictions that would hinder a broker from sharing fees.
In a conventional transaction, yes, but this is private money, right? So there's
Private money, okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
And let me just give you the 2 primary reasons why it is okay. So one, you're loaning money to a business, right? So most lenders require these investors to buy money in an entity. So you're not loaning money to an individual person. It's a business loan. Then you're loaning money to someone buying an investment property, not an owner-occupied property. So you are doing a loan for a business buying an investment property, not to an individual in an owner-occupied property. So that makes it a business purpose loan, which does not have the restrictions on referral fees, which does not have the same restrictions that conventional lending does. So not only is it okay for you to get paid for referrals, you can actually get paid on the HUD at the time of closing.
Wow. Now that's amazing. But no, that makes sense, because most of my clientele have been residential. So, but I need to move over to the commercial.
You need to move over.
Most of my business is commercial for myself. Can you get paid on yourself? Or
you can, but it kind of doesn't make sense, because if you're going to pay yourself $5,000, you're going to make $5,000, so it's a wash.
Yeah, gotcha.
So
Rashawn, go ahead.
No problem. Because this is money making conversation. What is rich? This is live. If anybody has any questions they want to ask Adonis about this, or what's your website, Adonis? Let's get that out first. What is the website?
The smartmoneyblueprint.com. www.smartmoneyblueprint.com.
Okay. Now, doing the interview when I did you said, Rashawn, I went out there, man. I flipped my first home, made my money, and then I sat on the sofa for 4 years looking for my next deal. While you were sitting there frustrated, because you started young, very young.
Yeah.
Was it a know-it-all personality, or you just thought it was easy?
So I had the unfortunate luck of my first deal being a home run. So I thought that every deal thereafter was going to be a home run deal. And I'm like, listen, I just made my net income in 62 days part-time, more than what I was making as an engineer. Dude, I'm about to kill this real estate thing. And no one told me that it doesn't really work that way. So although I left corporate not too long after I closed my first deal, and a lot of people kind of rah-rah behind, I closed my first deal, I said, screw corporate, and I left. But a lot of people don't hear the second part of that story, that I struggled for 4 years. Yeah, I flipped a bunch of houses, but I was broke for, my first 4, almost 5 years out of corporate. And so the one thing I would tell anyone is that entrepreneurs is not for the faint of heart. Have a plan, have a backup plan, have an in-between plan, have reserves. But I will tell you, the number one thing that most people do that fail is quit. The one thing I just refused to do was quit. And so although I struggled, I felt like I paid my dues. But I'll tell you that The one thing I wish I would have done differently is been a little bit more proactive in learning business beyond just an industry, because I didn't know business. I knew how to flip a house. I knew how to talk to people, but I didn't know how to run a business. So that'd be my number one recommendation to people is learn the business side of whatever industry you're going to get into, separate from the industry specialty itself.
Because you talk about traditional loans and you say private lending. That's what Jerome. That's different. I can see how you're getting paid now on these recommendations. Now, educate our audience right there, because he's in the real estate game, but you're trying to get people in the private lending game too. Because, like you said, Rashawn, that's where I make my money, and they're trying to educate people that they should stay in this lane too. Because when we were talking, it was almost one of those quiet as it kept type opportunities. If you don't know, then you don't know. But once you know, then guess what? You're trying to share. Tell us the difference between traditional and private lending.
So private lending. So on a private lending, take my company for example. We have loan programs, and there's lenders out there that don't require credit scores, no appraisals. I mean, we can get a deal and fund it in 48 hours. Some lenders fund 100% of purchase and the refinance with no pay stubs, no tax returns, no W-2s, no income verification, no DTI requirements. In my program, we don't even ask for bank statements, right? Because real estate investors, they're rich today, they're broke tomorrow. They're rich next week, they're broke the following week. So in private lending, it's more about the asset. I'll say 70% of the approval is the asset itself. The other 30%, it pretty much, we ask two questions. Can you afford it, right? And are you experienced enough to get in and out and give me my money back? If the answer is yes, essentially to those two questions, there is a private money lender that will fund your deal. And a lot of these lenders can fund a deal in a matter of 2 to 3 days with no income, very little documentation. I mean, just really make it about the asset. Conventional world, you got to do all this tax returns and all that good stuff. Private lending, we can get a deal on Saturday and have docs ready to go on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. So where do you find the money? It's not just people out there
the money,
on the corner, so where do you find the money to become a private lender?
Well, that's easy. www.smartmoneyblueprint.com. No, in all seriousness, right? Private money lenders, hard money lenders, the industry is transitioning to private money lenders, but most private money lenders are reformed hard money lenders. Hard money lenders are not hard to find. The moment you type or just say into your phone, private money or hard money lender, I mean, it'll start raining in. Right. So finding a hard money lender is easy. Finding the right hard money lender for your business style, for your investment strategy, that's where it becomes a bit of an uphill battle. So the Smart Money Blueprint, we teach you how to find these lenders. So even if people don't want to get into the business of making money brokering private money loans, this is also the best way you can find any lender for any asset type at any loan amount you want. So this model is designed to connect people to the private money they don't even know exists.
So I'm glad that you just made that distinction, because even me, who's been in real estate almost 30 years, I didn't understand that private money was the same as hard money.
Correct.
So when did that language come about? Because I didn't know that was the same thing.
See, once the industry became kind of institutionalized, I use air quotes because hard money traditionally was like, hey, Jerome, I'm gonna loan you money. You got 3 months. If you don't give me my money back, I'm gonna come out with a crowbar and take your knees out, right?
High interest. It's almost like a payday loan.
Almost, right? Except now, private money is actually a lot more structured in the way deals are evaluated. The big institutions have gotten involved. Believe it or not, a lot of the Wall Street players are the money behind the money in private lending. So what the private lending industry wanted to do was remove that kind of negative mafia style stigma of hard money and transition into private money. So most private money lenders you hear that will self-identify as private money are reformed hard money lenders that are now institutionally backed. That's a little bit more cleaner in their operation.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Like I said, that's exactly my perception when I think hard money. But private lending sounded very refined.
It's a lot more sexier than hard money.
Now let's talk about that. Okay, I'm just letting everybody know. Talking to Adonis Lockett. Adonis, you based in Houston, correct?
That is correct.
Correct. Smart Money Blueprint operates as a hands-on community, offering real-time coaching, weekly mastermind and deal desk sessions. Okay.
Yep.
Practical tools. When you say practical tools, what are you referencing there, Adonis? We say
So meaning
practical tools.
So the thing is, what I did not want to do with the Smart Money Blueprint was like, let me teach you the business. All right, good luck. And then you come back a week or two later and be like, hey man, here's what happened. I missed the customer. Oh shucks, we'll get them next time. So no. What I want to do is I wanted to give you real world and real time advice. So every single day we have 2 calls a day that offer workshops that allow you to call in. Hey, I met Jerome. Jerome got a deal. I'm supposed to call in tomorrow. Here's what I got. What can we do? And we'll actually give you advice right then and there about that actual deal. So we make it where you get real-time support. So if you meet a big player, you don't have to have the answer. You don't have to drop the ball. You can literally call in twice a day, tell us what's going on, and then we'll actually give you advice on what to say, what to do to make sure you land these customers pretty much in real time.
Yeah.
And that's really key, that the real time. And that's the practical tools.
Yes.
Then you talk about lender resources and implementation support. Now, that's the mentorship part of this.
Correct. So the first thing is that a lot of people confuse a simple concept for an easy business, right? The concept is very simple. Introduce a real estate investor to a private money lender and get paid.
Right.
Simple concept, by no means an easy business. You're talking about the money business in real estate. It is a very sophisticated business. So a lot of people think that simple concept turns into an easy business. Now, a broken clock is right twice a day. So you will get lucky introducing someone once or twice and close a deal or two. You will not be able to run it as a business if you are not versed in how to navigate, if you're not structured to operate it as a business, right? So we actually will teach you how to run this thing as a business as opposed to just making introductions. To everyone listening, it is not the same. We teach you how to run it as a business where you actually are capturing leads. You know how to communicate and follow up with your customers. Because in private lending, you don't land the business when you meet the investor, you land the business in the follow-up. And most people don't know that. So you are going to get your customer a week or two from the time you meet them. If you're not following up properly, you're going to lose them. If you're not following up, saying the right stuff, you're going to lose them. So we show you how to make sure that you're doing the right things in the right time to land these customers. And on top of that, when you get a customer, we're going to make sure that you're connected to the right private money lender to fund that deal. So it doesn't make sense to meet a builder and then introduce them to a private money lender who specializes in rentals, right? You've lost the equity with that customer if you don't land that deal with them the first time. We make sure that you get it right the first time, every time.
Now, you know, AI, of course, is the buzzword, the hot thing. How is that changing your business, your industry? Is it helping? Is it hurting? I would imagine customers coming in probably telling you what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it because they was on ChatGPT.
Right.
So talk a little bit about that.
So the good thing about AI in my industry is that it can expedite your learning curve, even beyond what the Smart Money Blueprint is able to do. AI just allows you to really clock into some really advanced competencies that most of us spent years learning. The other part of it, though, is that what AI doesn't teach you is that a real or a seasoned real estate investor can flush you out in about 30 seconds. Yeah. In your first 30 seconds of a conversation, people in our space know if you know what you're talking about.
Right.
And the way they do that is by asking you a question that you have to respond in a very specific way. And when you don't, they're like, you're new to the business. You don't know what you're talking about. So you can't fake the funk with people who are in the game. So no matter how much AI you want to jump into, if you ask AI, hey, how do I not get sniffed out, BSing somebody. AI won't necessarily have those answers because there are key things that you say, how you say it, when you say it, that real estate investors know that you either know what you're talking about or you don't, literally within the first minute of talking to you.
Yeah. I think when we talked yesterday, we talked a little bit about education and its role. And the way you said it, it just reminded me, one of the biggest things I got from my Wharton courses was the language. I now can talk EBITDA and multiples and cap rates and things of that nature. Before, I kind of heard them, I kind of knew what they were talking about. And honestly, I had my own Jerome Love version of it that did the same thing, but I didn't know how to put it in the right order when I'm talking to a bank, a lender, or a business person. But now I can flow in it quite easily.
So just imagine, and to your point, Jerome, just imagine that for anyone who's listening or thinking about getting into the space, someone has $50,000 non-refundable locked in on a deal. They got 3 weeks to close, and then you come and tell them, hey man, I can get your deal done. And then they're like, in our first 5 minutes, it's clear you have no idea what you're doing. They're not going to risk their 50 grand working with you. So it's important that you know that. And the thing is, I'm sure a lot of people gave you grace when you were learning what EBITDA is, but I can assure you that people who are talking about putting money behind you, when they're explaining to you what EBITDA is, in their mind, they're like, not him.
Yeah.
Here's the thing as we close out, you made a transition. I love the fact that we shared our story. I used to work for IBM. Thought I was going to be the next Eddie Murphy. Why not being a writer, producer in Hollywood? And I carried that course. And when people make a transition, it's about fear. And I want to just let everybody know that there's a lot of people listening to this show will probably watch the show now and see it played back in some form or fashion. How did you overcome fear, Adonis, when you decided to make a change in your life at such a young age, too, by the way?
My whole thing was, I was scared until I started doing it. And then when I was doing it, I was scared. And then when I was finished, I was scared. And I was like, what's the difference between doing it scared and not doing it scared? The difference is that after I've done it a time or two, I was no longer scared. And it's like, so you get the whole, what if I lose money? Then you lose money, right? What if I lose a relationship? What if you stay in the same place that you're going to be for the next 20 years? So, I always tell people the fear or the hardship of going where you want has to overcome the hardship or the fear of where you are. So, even getting on this interview had butterflies in my stomach. But at the end of the day, fear is part of the transaction. And it's one of those things you're either going to, just deal with it and be okay whatever the outcome is, or you're just going to stay where you are because you're going to be in fear of whatever could go wrong. And I tell everyone this: if you're scared of what go wrong, what if you just started leaning to what if everything went right?
Right. Adonis, man, thank you, brother. One more time, give out that website. And of course, we'll be talking to you soon. Probably see you at the Texas Expo. And when is the Texas Expo?
May 15th and the 16th in Houston.
Oh, good. So you're not seeing me. I'm putting it out in the universe. I'm gonna be speaking on stage.
Let's get it done.
Let the universe manifest. But yeah, it's www.smartmoneyblueprint.com. Again, follow me on Instagram, just first name, last name, Adonis Lockett. I'm putting out different nuggets every day. Smart Money Blueprint Instagram account. Just always putting out information about how to get into the space and grow into the space. Just anything that we can do to help grow real estate professionals or move people into real estate, that's what we're here to do.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, Adonis, for taking the time on Saturday to come talk to us. Appreciate you. We talk soon.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you. Well, now
we can talk about the movie.
The movie, that's right. The Secret Between Us. It came out Thursday, sneak preview. My man, R&B singer, the one and only Keith Sweat, executive producer. He asked me to come on board to market this movie, man. And it's a really great movie. It's a family movie, perfect timing. It's a family drama. Everybody can come see it. I went and saw this movie in the Miami Film Festival in June. I asked Keith Sweat, he was going to put it in streaming. I said, can we put it in the theaters? Because people have gotten away from going to the theaters, and a lot of our content you see on TV streaming. And I'm saying there's nothing wrong with it, but there's also something good about going to a movie theater with your family, making an outing, getting out and about. And this is one of the movies, The Secret Between Us. It stars my boy Michael Jai White, Lisa Arundel, Trey Ryan, Victoria Rao. Everybody knows her, famous soap opera star. But more importantly, it's a movie about love. It's a movie about redemption. It's a movie about forgiveness. It's a movie about overcoming the odds. And that's what attracted me to the movie when I saw it in Miami. I went to AMC theaters. They said, hey, we do independent production, because that's what this is. It's an independent production called The Secret Between Us. We don't have the big movie backing. It is us that's putting this out there. But that means that we have to count on people like you to go see it, let everybody know about it, and then share that knowledge, and so they can pack the theaters for us, and then we can stay around for a second week, because every week gets less and less theater screen support if nobody's in those seats. But we are in there today. Please go. The Secret Between Us. The Secret Between Us is a movie for the family. Jerome D. Love. AMC Theaters, by the way. AMC Theaters.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I saw the promo reel that you posted. It really looked like a good movie, and I'm excited to know that even in Houston, I can go to the theater and go check it out. So,
independently produced. We hit all the major markets: Chicago, Detroit, Washington D.C., St. Louis, Kansas City, Jacksonville, Miami. Like I said, Atlanta, Georgia, Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City. So all the major markets: Los Angeles, Las Vegas. So we did a great job with AMC of distributing this movie to give a lot of people opportunities to see the movie, and we're really excited. But we did have one question that popped up on the screen. I think it was for Bruce Marks, but he had already left. I didn't want to bring it up on the Donuts. That was from Miss Lucille Gibson. This is what Michigan really needs, instead of Democrats telling us what we need: the government to survive. I think what she's saying is that, and this was always about politics and all that, and I've been doing this, and you've been doing it a long time too. Mm-hmm. You can change the game if you've been given the right information.
Yeah.
For somebody to tell you that you can take your Section 8 check, which is like a guarantee, and that's all he's saying. See, once he said, that's like the lottery ticket. You qualify for Section 8, you're going to get that check every month till you die. That means that check can, in turn, instead of paying rent, can now be used as mortgage to buy your home.
Yeah, that's powerful.
That's powerful. But a lot of people don't know that, and that's why credit scores don't matter, closing fees don't matter. That's why closing costs don't matter. That's why you're going to get an opportunity to get America's best mortgage opportunity financed through a company and a bank that we all know, like a Bank of America. And that's what sold me on him, Jerome. And we're going to be back here next week with two more dynamic people who are going to change your lives.
Yeah. And we can't forget to announce what's coming up in 2 minutes. Episode 2 of What is Rich, streaming on Fox Soul. I'm really excited. This was a great episode with Will Packer, another great alpha man. That we filmed right there in your Atlanta studio, and Ryan Wilson, and then a Houston icon, if you will, Percy Crusoe, owner of the legendary Frenchie's Chicken, but he also has a whole manufacturing sausage operation that's in grocery stores, and he sells to Cisco and some of the convention centers. He's doing some amazing things, and I think it's always one great thing about the show is it exposes people to the various different opportunities and ways that you can make money beyond what most of us see. So I'm really excited. Right. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you go to whatisrichdoc.com. You can watch all of the episodes on our YouTube, and looking forward to changing lives.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Today, Fox Soul, What is Rich, hosted by my man, Jerome D. Love, directed by Rashad McDonald. Check it out. New episode every Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. 3 o'clock Pacific time. See you guys next week.